The evening sky turned dark as Lily Adams looked out the window of Joe's diner. Rain fell in soft drops against the glass. She had been working since noon, and her feet hurt in her worn white shoes. The small-town diner sat on the edge of the highway, catching travelers and locals alike. Tonight was quiet, with only 3 tables filled. Lily tucked a strand of blonde hair behind her ear and went back to wiping the counter. The radio played old country songs, mixing with the sounds of forks on plates and the sizzle of the grill, where Joe cooked the last order of the night. 1 more hour, Lily whispered to herself, looking at the clock that hung on the wall. The hands pointed to 9 p.m. She thought about her small apartment and the hot shower waiting for her. Maybe she would read a chapter of her book before bed. The bell above the door jingled. Lily looked up and saw a young man walk in. He was tall, with short brown hair, wearing simple jeans and a navy blue jacket. What caught her attention wasn't his looks, but his eyes. They were red, like he had been crying, and he moved slowly, as if each step took effort. He chose the corner booth, away from everyone else. Lily grabbed a menu and a glass of water and walked over. "Evening," she said with a smile. "Can I get you something to drink while you look at the menu?" The man looked up. His blue eyes seemed empty, lost in thoughts far away from the diner. "Just coffee black, please," he said, his voice quiet and rough. Lily nodded and went to get his coffee. As she poured the dark liquid into a mug, she watched him from behind the counter. He stared out the window, not seeing the rain or the passing cars, just looking into nothing. His hands rested on the table, and she noticed they shook slightly. She brought over his coffee. "Here you go. Are you ready to order food?" The man shook his head. "Just the coffee, thanks." Lily should have walked away. She had other tables to check on, and Joe didn't like when she chatted too long with customers, but something about this man made her pause. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. He looked surprised by her question, as if no one had asked him that in a long time. For a moment he seemed about to say the usual, "I'm fine," that people say even when they're not. Instead, he took a deep breath. "Not really," he admitted. "But I will be. Thank you for asking." Lily nodded and left him with his coffee. She checked on her other tables, refilled drinks, and cleared empty plates. All the while, she kept glancing at the man in the corner. He hadn't touched his coffee. He just sat there, sometimes looking at his phone, sometimes staring out the window. The diner emptied slowly. The family with 2 kids paid and left. The old couple who came every Tuesday finished their pie and waved goodbye. The truck driver asked for his check and headed back to the road. Soon, only the young man remained, his coffee now cold in front of him. Lily brought the coffee pot over. "Would you like a fresh cup? That one must be cold by now." He looked up and tried to smile. "I'm sorry. I've been taking up your table and not even drinking my coffee." "It's okay. We're not exactly packed tonight." Lily poured fresh coffee into his mug. Then, making a quick decision, she slid into the seat across from him. Joe was in the back counting the day's money. "I'm Lily, by the way." "Sam," he said. "Sam Mitchell." "Nice to meet you, Sam. I don't want to be nosy, but you seem like you're having a rough night. Sometimes it helps to talk to someone who doesn't know you." Sam wrapped his hands around the warm mug. "My grandmother died this morning," he said after a long pause. "She raised me after my parents died when I was 8. Car accident." "I'm so sorry," Lily said, and she meant it. "I lost my grandmother last year. It's a special kind of hurt, losing a grandmother." Sam nodded, looking grateful that she understood. "She was the strongest person I knew. Never complained, even when things were hard. She worked 2 jobs to raise me." "She sounds amazing," Lily said. She was. Sam took a sip of coffee. "The hard part is I have to work tomorrow. It's something very important that I can't miss. My team is counting on me." "What kind of work do you do?" Lily asked. Sam hesitated. "Government job. Can't talk much about it." Lily nodded, not pushing for more. My grandmother used to say that grief is just love with nowhere to go. After she died, I started putting that love into things she would have liked. I planted flowers because she loved gardening. I bake her cookie recipe. It helps. Sam looked at her with interest. That's a nice way to think about it. My grandmother loved watching the sky. Planes, birds, clouds, stars, anything up there made her happy. She's the reason He stopped himself. Well, she's the reason I chose my career. They talked for nearly an hour. Sam told stories about his grandmother's small house with the big backyard where he used to play. Lily shared memories of her own grandmother's laugh and how she never forgot anyone's birthday. Neither mentioned their jobs much. Lily's waitressing was obvious, and Sam kept his work vague. As the clock neared 10 p.m., Joe came out from the back. "Closing time, Lily," he called, looking curiously at her sitting with the customer. Sam checked his watch. "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how late it got." He pulled out his wallet. "Don't worry about it," Joe said, surprising Lily. Her boss must have heard enough to understand. "Coffee's on the house tonight, son." "Thank you, sir, but I insist." Sam placed money on the table, way more than enough for a cup of coffee. He stood up and put on his jacket. "Thank you, Lily. You helped more than you know." "Will you be okay?" she asked, standing too. "I will. I have to be. Tomorrow is important." He smiled, and this time it reached his eyes. "My grandmother would want me to do my job well." "She'd be proud of you," Lily said. Sam walked to the door, then turned back. "Do you work tomorrow?" "Yes. Morning shift, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. He nodded. "Maybe I'll see you around, Lily." After he left, Lily cleaned his table and found a note with the tip. It read, "Thank you for your kindness when I needed it most. SM." She tucked the note into her pocket, feeling like she had done something right today. Little did she know that her simple act of kindness would come back to her in a way she could never imagine. That night, as Sam drove back to the Air Force Base, where he was stationed, he made a phone call to his commanding officer. "Sir, I'll be ready for tomorrow's demonstration. I want to fly in her honor." At home in her small apartment, Lily took a shower and got ready for bed. She thought about Sam and his grandmother, hoping he would find peace. She had no idea that less than 24 hours later, she would look up at the sky and see him again in a way that would change both their lives forever. She set her alarm for 5 a.m., placed the book she was reading on her nightstand, and turned off the light. Outside her window, the rain had stopped and stars appeared in the clearing sky. Somewhere in the same town, under the same stars, Sam Mitchell prepared for the most important flight of his career, one that would soon connect their paths in an extraordinary way. Lily woke up before her alarm the next morning. The sky outside her window was just beginning to lighten, turning from black to deep blue. She got ready for her shift quietly, thinking about the man from last night. Sam Mitchell and his sad eyes had stayed in her thoughts as she fell asleep. She walked to work in the cool morning air. Joe's Diner sat at the edge of town, its windows dark until she unlocked the door at 5:30 a.m. Lily flipped on the lights, started the coffee, and began her morning routine. By 6 a.m., when the diner officially opened, the smell of fresh coffee and bacon filled the air. The morning crowd came in waves. First the early workers, construction men in their boots, a few nurses ending night shifts, and truck drivers stopping for breakfast. Lily moved between tables with coffee and food, smiling and chatting with the regulars. Around 8 a.m., her coworker Diane burst through the door. Diane was always late, but today she seemed extra excited, her brown curls bouncing as she tied her apron. "Have you heard?" Diane asked, grabbing Lily's arm. "There's going to be an air show today. It wasn't planned. They just announced it last night." Lily raised her eyebrows. Their small town rarely had exciting events. "An air show? Where?" "At the Air Force Base just outside town. Everyone's talking about it." Diane pulled a folded newspaper from her purse. "Look, they're going to have an F-22 Raptor demonstration. Those planes almost never do shows around here." Lily glanced at the newspaper. The front page showed a sleek fighter jet against a blue sky. The headline read, "Special Air Force Demonstration Today. Local pilot to fly rare F-22 display." Local pilot? Lily asked, suddenly curious. Yeah, some hotshot who grew up near here. The paper says he's one of their best pilots. Joe wants to close early so we can all go see it. It starts at 3 p.m. Lily handed back the paper. That sounds fun, but I'm not really into planes. Come on, Diane pleaded. When do we ever get to leave work early? Besides, these jets are amazing. They can do things you wouldn't believe. The morning passed quickly. The diner was busier than usual, with many customers talking about the air show. Around noon, Joe came out from the kitchen and called to his staff. Listen up, everyone. We're closing at 1:30 today so you can all go to the air show. It's not often we get something this exciting around here. Lily didn't argue. A free afternoon was a free afternoon, even if she spent it watching planes. She was wiping down tables when the bell above the door rang. A young woman in an Air Force uniform walked in. She looked around the diner until she spotted Lily. "Are you Lily Adams?" the woman asked. Lily nodded, surprised. "Yes, that's me." The woman handed her an envelope. "I was asked to deliver this to you personally." Confused, Lily took the envelope. "Thank you, but who?" "I can't say more." "Enjoy your day, ma'am." The woman smiled politely and left. Lily stared at the envelope. Her name was written on the front in neat handwriting. She opened it carefully and found a special pass inside. The pass had VIP viewing area printed in bold letters. With it was a note. "Some things are worth saying thank you for. Front row, seat waiting. SM, Sam Mitchell." But how did he know about the air show? And how did he get her a VIP pass? Lily felt a strange flutter in her stomach. "What's that?" Diane asked, peering over Lily's shoulder. "A VIP pass to the air show. I think it's from a customer I talked to last night." Diane's eyes widened. A VIP pass? Those are impossible to get. Who was this customer? Lily thought about Sam's red eyes and the way he talked about his grandmother. Just someone having a hard day. I kept him company while he had coffee. At 1:30, Joe closed the diner. Lily went home to change her clothes. She put on jeans, a light blue t-shirt, and comfortable shoes. She wasn't sure what to expect at an air show, but she wanted to look nice. The VIP pass hung from a lanyard around her neck. The Air Force Base was usually closed to the public, but today the main gates were open. Cars filled the parking areas and people walked toward the airfield where the show would happen. Lily followed the crowd, feeling both excited and nervous. At the entrance to the viewing area, a man in uniform checked passes. When he saw Lily's VIP badge, he nodded respectfully. "Ms. Adams, please follow me. You have a special seat in the front." Lily followed him past the regular seating to a roped-off area near the runway. Only a few people sat there, men in suits, and what looked like military officials. They all looked at her curiously as she took her seat. A voice came over the speakers, welcoming everyone to the special demonstration. The announcer explained the different planes they would see, saving the F-22 Raptor for last. "And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Please welcome Captain Samuel Mitchell, flying the Air Force's most advanced fighter jet, the F-22 Raptor." Lily's heart stopped. Samuel Mitchell. Sam. The sad man from her diner was a fighter pilot? She stared at the sky in disbelief. A roar filled the air as a sleek gray jet appeared above the airfield. It moved with incredible speed and grace, climbing straight up until it seemed to touch the clouds. Then it flipped and dove, performing turns and rolls that seemed impossible. The crowd gasped and cheered. Even the officials in the VIP section looked impressed. Lily couldn't take her eyes off the plane, knowing Sam was inside, controlling its every move. After 15 minutes of breathtaking flying, the jet slowed and made a low pass over the airfield. As it passed the VIP section, it tipped its wings from side to side like a salute. Lily felt sure it was meant for her. The plane landed smoothly on the runway and taxied toward the viewing area. It stopped closer than the other aircraft had, its powerful engines winding down. The canopy opened and the pilot stood up. Even from a distance, Lily recognized Sam. He removed his helmet and looked toward the VIP section. Though she couldn't see his face clearly, she knew he was looking for her. An older man in a decorated uniform sitting near Lily nodded approvingly. Captain Mitchell insisted on flying today, despite being offered leave. His grandmother passed yesterday, but he said she would have wanted him to fly. That young man has extraordinary dedication. Lily's chest tightened. She remembered Sam's words from last night. Tomorrow is important. My grandmother would want me to do my job well. Now, she understood. His important job was flying this incredible machine, and somehow her simple act of kindness had meant enough for him to send her a VIP pass to watch him honor his grandmother. The announcer's voice came over the speakers again. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mitchell has requested that a special live guest join him on the field. Would Lily Adams please follow the escort at the edge of the VIP section? All eyes turned to Lily. Her face grew warm, but she stood up. A uniformed officer waited to guide her. As she walked toward the airfield, toward Sam and his powerful jet, Lily realized that sometimes the smallest kindness could lead to the most unexpected places. Lily's heart beat fast as she walked across the airfield. The ground was hard under her feet and the sun felt warm on her face. All around her, people watched and whispered. She felt out of place in her simple jeans and t-shirt among the uniforms and official clothes. The Air Force officer walking beside her smiled kindly. Captain Mitchell doesn't do this sort of thing. He's usually very private. Lily didn't know what to say. Just yesterday, Sam had been a sad, quiet man in her diner. Now he was Captain Samuel Mitchell, flying one of the most advanced planes in the world. It didn't seem real. They stopped about 20 feet from the F-22 Raptor. The plane was much bigger up close, all sleek gray metal with sharp angles. It looked powerful and dangerous. Sam stood next to it talking to some mechanics. He still wore his flight suit, green with patches on the shoulders. When he turned and saw Lily, a wide smile spread across his face. He said something to the mechanics, then walked toward her. His steps were confident, very different from his slow, sad movements in the diner. He stopped in front of her and stood straight, like soldiers do. "Ms. Adams," he said formally, but his eyes were warm. "Thank you for coming," Lily found her voice. "You didn't tell me you were a fighter pilot." Sam's serious face broke into a smile. "It didn't seem important last night. Other things were on my mind." A crowd gathered at a distance watching them with curious eyes. Lily felt uncomfortable with all the attention. "Why did you ask me to come here? Why the VIP pass?" Sam looked at his plane, then back at Lily. "Because what you did meant something to me. You didn't have to sit with a stranger and listen to his problems. You didn't have to share your own story about your grandmother. But you did. And it helped more than, you know." He paused. "I wanted you to see what your kindness made possible." "I don't understand," Lily said. Sam's voice became quieter, meant only for her. "After my grandmother died, I was ready to call my commander and ask for leave. I wasn't sure I could fly today. This demonstration was planned months ago. Many important people came to see it." He nodded toward the VIP section. "But after talking with you, I knew I could do it. I knew my grandmother would want me to fly." A man in a highly decorated uniform approached them. He had gray hair and a serious face that softened when he reached them. "Captain Mitchell," he said, "outstanding flying today. Your grandmother would be proud." "Thank you, General Parker," Sam replied. "Sir, this is Lily Adams. She's the person I told you about." The general turned to Lily and offered his hand. "Ms. Adams, it's a pleasure to meet you. Captain Mitchell spoke highly of you this morning, said you helped him through a difficult time." Lily shook his hand, feeling surprised. "I didn't do much, sir. We just talked." "Sometimes that's all it takes," the general said. "I've known this young man since he was a cadet. He's one of our finest pilots, but even the strongest people need support sometimes." He looked at Sam. "Take some time, Captain. Show Ms. Adams around if she's interested. The debriefing can wait." After the general left, Sam turned to Lily. "Would you like to see the plane up close?" Lily nodded, and Sam led her to the F-22. A small set of steps had been placed beside it. Sam went up first, then offered his hand to help her. Lily climbed carefully and found herself looking into the cockpit. It was filled with screens, buttons, and controls she couldn't understand. "This is where you sit?" she asked, amazed by how small the space was. "For hours sometimes," Sam said. "It becomes like a second home." "How fast does it go?" "It can fly at more than twice the speed of sound. That's over 1,500 miles per hour. Lily tried to imagine moving that fast and couldn't. "And you can control it at that speed?" Sam nodded. "That's my job. My grandmother used to say I could fly before I could run." His voice softened when he mentioned his grandmother. "She raised me after my parents died. We didn't have much money, but every air show within 100 miles she found a way to take me." They climbed down from the plane, and Sam showed her around the airfield. He introduced her to other pilots and crew members. Everyone seemed surprised to see Sam with a civilian, especially one he had just met. But they were all polite and friendly to Lily. "Captain Mitchell is the best pilot in our squadron," one young crew member told Lily when Sam stepped away to speak with someone. "He never shows off, never takes risks, but he can make that plane dance like nobody else." Sam returned and suggested they get something to drink. He led her to a small building where people in uniform sat at tables, eating and talking. Conversations quieted when they entered, and many eyes turned their way. Sam seemed not to notice, as he got them both cold sodas and found an empty table. "I'm sorry about all the attention," he said. "It's not usually like this, but we don't often have visitors and—" He paused, looking a bit embarrassed. "I'm not known for socializing much, so everyone is surprised to see you with a waitress from a highway diner," Lily asked with a small smile. "They're surprised to see me with anyone," Sam corrected. "After my parents died, it was just my grandmother and me. I learned to keep to myself." He took a drink of his soda. "That's why last night was unusual for me. I don't normally talk to strangers about personal things." "Me neither," Lily admitted. "But you seemed like you needed someone to listen." They talked for nearly an hour. Sam told her about growing up, about joining the Air Force, and about his training to fly the F-22. Lily shared stories about her life in the small town, her job at the diner, and her dreams of someday going to college. "Why haven't you gone?" Sam asked. "Money, mostly, and time. I work almost every day." Sam nodded, understanding. They were very different people with very different lives, but somehow talking felt natural. Eventually, a young officer approached their table. "Excuse me, Captain Mitchell, the general is asking for you. The debriefing will start soon." Sam nodded. "Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll be right there." He turned back to Lily. "I have to go. Military life, always on a schedule." "Of course," Lily said, standing up. "Thank you for inviting me today. It was amazing to see you fly." "Can I drive you home?" Sam asked. "The debriefing shouldn't take more than an hour." Lily hesitated, then nodded. "That would be nice. I can wait." Sam smiled, looking relieved. "Great. Wait here. I'll have someone bring you more to drink, and I'll come back as soon as I can." As Sam walked away in his flight suit, looking every bit the hero pilot, Lily thought about how different he seemed from the sad man in her diner. Yet she could see now that both were the same person, the brave pilot and the grieving grandson. She had only seen one side last night, but today she was seeing another. She wondered what would happen after he drove her home. Would they see each other again? Or was this just a thank you, a one-time connection between two very different worlds? As she waited, watching the planes on the airfield, Lily realized she hoped this wasn't the end of their story. Lily waited for Sam in the small building on the airfield. People came and went, some giving her curious looks. A young woman in uniform had brought her water and asked if she needed anything else. Lily thanked her but said she was fine. Through the window, Lily could see the F-22 Raptor still parked on the airfield. Ground crew worked around it, checking things and writing on clipboards. The sun was starting to lower in the sky, making the plane's metal skin shine. After about an hour, Sam returned. He had changed out of his flight suit and now wore regular Air Force blues. a neat uniform that made him look official but more normal than before. His hair was damp, like he had taken a quick shower. "Sorry for the wait," he said. "Debriefings always take longer than they should." "It's no problem," Lily replied. "Your plane is beautiful." Sam smiled, looking out at the F-22. "She is. Ready to go?" They walked to the parking lot. Sam led her to a simple blue car, nothing fancy like she might have expected. He opened the passenger door for her, then went around and got in the driver's seat. "Where to?" he asked, starting the engine. Lily gave him directions to her apartment building on the edge of town. As they drove away from the base, Sam seemed to relax, his shoulders dropping slightly. "Is it hard?" Lily asked. "Being in uniform all the time. Having to be perfect?" Sam thought about it as he drove. "Sometimes there's always pressure. The Air Force trains us to handle it, but yes, it can be hard to always be Captain Mitchell." He glanced at her. "That's why last night at the diner was different. I was just Sam, just a guy who lost his grandmother." "I'm glad I could help," Lily said, "even in a small way." They drove in comfortable silence for a while. The town passed by outside the windows. Shops, houses, people walking on sidewalks. Normal life that seemed far from fighter jets and military bases. "My grandmother's funeral is in 3 days," Sam said suddenly. "I have to fly back to my hometown tomorrow to help with arrangements." "I'm sorry," Lily said, not sure what else to say. "Would you—" Sam paused, seeming unsure for the first time since she had seen him in his uniform. "Would you want to have dinner with me tonight, before I leave tomorrow? Nothing fancy, just a thank you for last night." Lily felt her face warm. "That would be nice. I'd like that." Sam's smile seemed relieved. "Great. I know a good place that's not too far from here." He drove to a small restaurant by the lake outside town. It wasn't fancy, just a simple place with good food and a nice view of the water. They sat at a table near the window where they could see the sun setting over the lake, turning the water orange and gold. "Tell me about your grandmother," Lily said after they ordered. "What was she like?" Sam's eyes softened. "Her name was Eleanor. She was tough but kind. She worked as a school secretary and cleaned houses on weekends to make extra money after my parents died. She never complained, not once." He smiled at a memory. "She loved birds. Our backyard was full of bird feeders. She knew the name of every bird that came to visit." "She sounds wonderful," Lily said. She was. "What about your grandmother?" Lily thought about her own grandmother, gone for a year now. "Her name was Rose. She baked the best apple pie you've ever tasted. She taught me how to bake, how to garden, how to fix things around the house. She said a woman should know how to take care of herself." "Smart woman," Sam said. They talked through dinner, finding they had things in common despite their different lives. Both had been raised by strong women. Both worked hard. Both felt a little lonely sometimes. "How long have you been at Joe's Diner?" Sam asked. "Almost 3 years now. It's not what I planned to do, but it pays the bills." Lily stirred, her drink with her straw. "I was in college for a while studying to be a teacher, but I had to drop out when money got tight. Do you want to go back?" "Someday. When I save enough." Sam nodded, understanding. "My grandmother made sure I went to college. She said education was the one thing no one could take away from you. I went to the Air Force Academy. It was hard, but it was free." After dinner, they walked along the lake. The air was cool now, and stars began to appear in the darkening sky. Lily wrapped her arms around herself. "Cold?" Sam asked, noticing. "A little." He took off his jacket and put it around her shoulders. It was warm from his body and smelled like clean soap and something else she couldn't name. "Thank you," she said, pulling it closer. They stopped at a bench facing the water and sat down. Above them, a plane's lights moved across the sky, not a fighter jet, just a regular commercial flight. "Will you stay in touch?" Lily asked, then felt silly for asking. "I mean, after you go to the funeral and everything." Sam looked at her, his face serious in the dim light. "I'd like to. Would that be okay?" Lily nodded. "Yes." I'm stationed at the base here for another 6 months. After that, I could be transferred anywhere. That's how military life works. He looked out at the lake. But I'd still like to know you, Lily Adams, if that's something you want too. I do, she said simply. Sam smiled and reached for her hand. His fingers were warm against hers. They sat that way for a while, watching the stars come out, not needing to talk. Later, Sam drove Lily back to her apartment. He walked her to her door, still the gentleman even out of uniform. I fly out early tomorrow, he said. But I'll be back in 4 days. Can I call you when I return? I'd like that, Lily said, taking his jacket off her shoulders and handing it back. Sam took the jacket but didn't put it on. Instead, he leaned forward slowly and kissed her cheek. Thank you again, Lily, for everything. Lily felt warm where his lips had touched her skin. Safe travels, Sam. I'm so sorry about your grandmother. She would have liked you, he said with a sad smile. Very much. After Sam left, Lily went into her small apartment and closed the door. She leaned against it, thinking about the strange 2 days she had just experienced. From a sad man in her diner to a fighter pilot to a dinner by the lake, life had taken an unexpected turn. On her table was the VIP pass from the air show. She picked it up and looked at it, remembering the powerful plane and the man who flew it. Captain Samuel Mitchell, one of the Air Force's best pilots, but also just Sam, a man who missed his grandmother and found comfort in talking to a kind waitress. Lily put the pass in her drawer for safekeeping. She didn't know what would happen when Sam returned, but she felt hopeful, like maybe this was the beginning of something good. As she got ready for bed, she thought about Eleanor, Sam's grandmother, who loved birds and raised a boy who grew up to fly like one. Somehow, Lily felt she would have approved of the connection that had formed because of her passing. 6 months passed since Lily first met Sam at Joe's diner. The seasons changed from spring to summer, and now leaves were turning red and gold as fall arrived. Many things stayed the same. Lily still worked at the diner, still lived in her small apartment, still dreamed of returning to college someday, but other things had changed completely. After Sam returned from his grandmother's funeral, he called Lily just as he promised. They went to dinner again, then to a movie the next weekend. Soon they were seeing each other whenever Sam wasn't flying or training. Joe and the other diner staff teased Lily about her pilot boyfriend, but she didn't mind. On a cool October morning, Lily wiped tables at the diner and thought about Sam. He had been busy all week with special training exercises. She hadn't seen him for 5 days, but he was coming over tonight for dinner at her apartment. She had bought ingredients to make pot roast, a recipe her grandmother had taught her. The bell above the door jingled, and Lily looked up. It was Sam, wearing his casual clothes, jeans and a blue sweater instead of his uniform. His face looked serious. Sam, Lily said, surprised. I thought you were training today. I was. I took a break. He came to her and gave her a quick kiss. Can you take a few minutes? I need to talk to you about something. Lily's heart beat faster. His tone worried her. Sure. Let me tell Joe I'm taking my break. They sat at a booth in the corner, away from other customers. Sam's hands were wrapped around a coffee mug, but he wasn't drinking. What's wrong? Lily asked. Sam took a deep breath. I got my new orders yesterday. They're transferring me to a base in Alaska. I leave in 2 weeks. Lily felt like the air had been pushed from her lungs. Alaska, so far away. 2 weeks? That's so soon? I know, it's a special assignment. I'll be training new pilots on the F-22. He reached across the table for her hand. I've been thinking about this all night. About us. Lily looked at their joined hands. In 6 months, Sam had become the most important person in her life. The thought of him leaving hurt more than she expected. How long will you be in Alaska? She asked. At least a year. Maybe 2. Sam's eyes stayed on hers. It's a big deal for my career, but I don't want to lose you, Lily. Lily tried to smile. We can call and text. Lots of people do long distance. Sam shook his head. That's not what I want. He took another deep breath. I want you to come with me. Lily stared at him. To Alaska? Yes, Sam squeezed her hand. I know it's a lot to ask. You have your life here, your job. But I love you, Lily. These past 6 months have been the best of my life. I don't want to do this next part without you. It was the first time he had said he loved her. Lily felt tears in her eyes. I love you too, Sam, but Alaska, it's so far. What would I do there? Whatever you want. There are schools near the base. You could finish your degree, become a teacher like you wanted. He smiled. Military spouses get benefits too. Lily's eyes widened. Spouses? Are you? Sam let go of her hand and reached into his pocket. He pulled out a small box and opened it. Inside was a simple ring with a small diamond. Nothing flashy, but beautiful in its simplicity. I was going to do this tonight at dinner with candles and everything. He laughed softly. But I couldn't wait. Lily Adams, will you marry me? Will you come to Alaska and wherever else the air force sends us? It won't always be easy, but I promise to love you every day. Lily looked at the ring, then at Sam. 6 months ago, he had been a sad stranger in her diner. Now he was the man she loved, asking her to share his life. Yes, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Yes to all of it. Sam's face broke into the biggest smile she had ever seen. He slid the ring onto her finger, then leaned across the table to kiss her. Around them, diner customers clapped and cheered, suddenly aware of what was happening. Joe came out from the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron. What's all this noise about? When he saw the ring on Lily's finger, he grinned. Well, it's about time, Captain. You're taking away my best waitress, aren't you? Sam stood and shook Joe's hand. I'm afraid so, sir. We're moving to Alaska in 2 weeks. Alaska. Joe looked at Lily. Girl, you better get a warm coat. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur. Lily gave notice at the diner, packed up her small apartment, and said goodbye to friends. Sam helped when he wasn't at the base preparing for the transfer. They decided to have a small wedding before leaving, just a simple ceremony with the friends they had made. On their wedding day, Lily stood in a simple white dress in the base chapel. Diane from the diner was her maid of honor. Sam waited at the altar in his formal Air Force uniform, looking handsome and nervous. When the music started and Lily walked toward him, his eyes never left hers. The ceremony was short but beautiful. They exchanged vows and rings, promising to love each other through whatever life brought them. When the chaplain pronounced them husband and wife, Sam kissed Lily as their friends applauded. The reception was held at Joe's diner, which had been closed for the private party. Joe had cooked all day, making the best food the diner had ever served. Pilots from Sam's squadron mixed with diner staff and locals who had known Lily for years. During the celebration, Sam pulled Lily aside. I have a surprise for you. Come, outside. He led her to the diner parking lot. Their friends followed, curious. In the clear blue sky above, 4 F-22 Raptors appeared, flying in formation. As everyone watched, the planes performed a series of beautiful maneuvers. For the finale, they flew directly over the diner and released smoke that formed a heart in the sky. My squadron's wedding gift, Sam explained, his arm around Lily's waist. They wanted to do something special. Lily watched the heart slowly fade in the sky. It's beautiful, Sam. Thank you. That night, after all the guests had gone, Sam and Lily stood outside her apartment for the last time. Tomorrow they would fly to Alaska to begin their new life together. Are you scared? Sam asked. Lily thought about it. A little, but mostly excited. I never thought I'd leave this town, and now I'm going to Alaska with an F-22 pilot. Sam laughed and pulled her close. Life takes strange turns. If you hadn't been working that night, if I hadn't stopped at that diner, if you hadn't lost your grandmother, Lily added softly. I'm sorry that's how we met. But I'm not sorry we met. She would have loved this, Sam said. She always said everything happens for a reason. Maybe she was right. Lily looked up at the stars, thinking about Eleanor, who loved birds, and Rose, who baked apple pies. Two grandmothers who had raised them to be the people they were now. A waitress and a pilot whose paths had crossed in a small-town diner on a sad night. "I think they're both watching us right now," Lily said. "And I think they're happy." Sam kissed the top of her head. "I know they are." As they stood there, a shooting star streaked across the sky. They both saw it and made silent wishes, though. They already had what they wanted most: each other, and the promise of tomorrow, whatever it might bring.